Hoi. Rob.
Hmm?
Did you hear that?
Hmm?
I said you hear that.
What?
Shh. Rob, keep it down. I said, did you hear that?
Hear what?
Shh. Never mind, Rob. Well, this job's just turned out to be more than I expected. Just getting jittery. It's probably just the wind.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This. We have a hot one for you, mostly because of the heat wave that we are still experiencing in British Columbia. Instead...
Number 2, 3, 4?
This is number
4, maybe?
this is on the record, I think, officially number 3. So it is bad. We are going to attempt to breeze through this one like the air elementals that we will be talking about. Today, Freeman, full of wind, Iceton, is going to be taking us and me, James, the Refractor Kid, through Invisible Stalkers on the Monster Manual, page 192. Mustaches in my mouth.
And I will do my best to maintain the energy from the start. Oh, heat wave. It's a heat wave.
Yeah, we're not
James
one
has
for
said.
doing topical or current events, but
Man.
this is bad.
It's bad. It's bad news. Yeah. I'm a sweaty bastard on a good day, so...
We're the hottest place in North America this week.
Amazing. Good to know. They told me Florida was hot when I was a kid.
It was hot when we were kids.
So, yeah, Invisible Stalkers. Air elementals with a twist. Well, not really a twist so much as
Thanks, M. Night.
a caveat. I don't know. Essentially, Invisible and Stalkers are always summoned from the elemental plane of air. They are air elementals summoned from that plane, and then they are twisted by powerful magic. And this powerful magic basically drives them to a sole and singular purpose, which is to hunt down creatures and retrieve objects as instructed by the summoner. And they never stop until defeated, in which case they return to their home plane, or the magic that binds them expires, such as the summoner themselves perishing. It then vanishes in a gust of wind.
I have a question about that, but I'll save it.
Okay. Pocket it. Pocket it temporarily, please. So upon the creation of these Invisible Stalkers, the elemental sticks by the summoner's side, waiting for a task to be given to them. And if the task is not one of the two previously mentioned, that is, hunting down a creature or retrieving a specific object, then the magic itself ends and the elemental is immediately released. So this magic that twists and transforms them is very, very specific, but it comes with some pretty tremendous power at the same time.
All right.
Other than this, the Invisible Stalker will persist indefinitely, always returning for a new task. So they basically rinse, repeat. However, these elementals can only at best be described as unwilling servants. So they are essentially slaves, and very much unhappy about it, but have no choice. And if a task does take them too long to perform, somewhere around a week's time, usually, an Invisible Stalker will actually find a way to pervert or reinterpret the intent of the command it was given, if it was not worded carefully enough.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So they are not happy about their situation, but they will follow as their commands to the best of their ability and as fast as possible. But if something does slow them down, they will try and find a way to not just... They probably can't find a way to get out of it, but they can probably find a way to really piss off the person who set them upon their task. Do you want your third question in now, or are you still holding it?
It's a mechanics question, I think.
Okay. Why don't you ask it to me, and I'll tell you if we'll wait.
Okay. When you said it vanishes in a gust of wind, does it actually vanish in the second level spell gust of wind?
Yeah, we will get to that.
Okay.
Perfect. I love that. But what might be obvious, but maybe not, is that these creatures being composed of air are naturally invisible and remain so even while attacking, which is a big part of what makes them powerful.
Okay.
Their true form is completely unknown, and they can at least be heard to narrow down their position. However, even magical solutions to see invisibility, such as the spell See Invisibility, only show vague outlines of the creature. I will tell you that there's no mechanical evidence of that, but I have an idea in mind that how I would approach that, and maybe you do too. But despite all of this, in second edition's Monstrous Manual, it's called, they were perceived only as a shimmering mass, similar to the refraction caused by hot air passing a cold front.
Predator.
It's so specific, and I love it. And this only occurred on the material, astral, and ethereal planes. Otherwise, one would assume there is no visual perception that occurs elsewhere. So that's just second edition's interpretation of that. Whereas 5e specifies they're just invisible unless you use a solution to see invisibility, and even then, it's essentially your refraction.
Predator.
And that is honestly it for lore. That's it. Done and dusted.
That was what? Do they just appear in first and two, or in fifth and two?
No, they appear in, I think it's second, third, and fifth, or is it second, fourth, and fifth? I forget actually off the top of my head. But I have the artwork here. I did them in reverse order in the Discord. The first one is the 5e, and it's a very spooky looking windy ghost thing that's just totally
I actually love
the fighter apart.
5e art. Yeah, because they not only have that one in the book, they have that in a black and white sketch in a different angle, and the different angle looks so much better. Yeah,
cool. And then like the 3E or the 4E art, again, I forget which one it is. It just, it's like some dude just standing there with a dagger and on front by some steps and marble columns, and there's just this wispiness in the background.
I also really like that art.
It is good, yeah. My favorite though is the original 2E artwork, which I've posted a picture here of an actual picture of the book itself, and you can see in the square in which there's supposed to be a creature, they just left it blank because it's invisible.
That's really good. I was wondering why you posted that, but that's so good. That's going to be
confused.
Excellent Instagram post.
Yeah. I was really confused because on the Forgotten Realms wiki, where we usually pull the official, or at least that's where I usually pull the official images from different editions, it really was just a blank square, and I was trying to figure out if it just wasn't loading or not, but then it just kind of clicked, and then I just Googled Monstrous Manual Invisible Stalker and clicked images in Google, and there it was. I was like, this is amazing.
That's fantastic.
It's like attention to detail without any detail somehow. It's beautiful.
Oh man, I love that. There's there's an old Byron poem that I really love. And to paraphrase it's a full page in this book of collected works, but I don't remember how it went, but to paraphrase it, it's like, here are the things that I love about you, and the rest of the page is just blank.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's so funny. And then I don't have any cultural lore for this one either. This is going to be a real short episode. I'm glad I didn't announce it beforehand, because it usually isn't going too long. But this is we're 10 minutes in now, and there's almost nothing but mechanics left.
Wow, I mean,
I'm sure
there are elements
there are
in pop culture.
Sure, but these are very specific, and we're not covering air elementals. We're not covering the elemental plane of air or anything like that, right? Like those are separate stat blocks and creatures.
That's very true. And I guess we didn't talk about Dame Judi Dench today.
Why? Where would she come in?
She played an air elemental in Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I asked, I knew you were going to go with Riddick.
So I love those movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to find a little bit of research of like invisible assassins in folklore or something like that, but there really wasn't anything. I kept coming up with unrelated links to other fairy type creatures that tend to turn invisible or something like that. And there was one Irish one, I think, is like an us she or something like that, and which is where the word Sith actually comes from for Star Wars. But it was like it just wasn't really related.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just didn't include anything because nothing connected to this very specific air elemental. So there you have it.
Yeah, I'm not really pulling up anything either. I mean, I know there's got to be something like some anime that I've seen where somebody whispers to the darkness and it goes and kills them, or from like Helsing or Castlevania or so. There's got to be something out there, but I'm drawing a blank.
But that's where we're coming in with like, if we did find something, it would be honorable mentions or like, fun facts or something like that, just like pop culture stuff, but not any. There's no significant like mythological references or folklore references that I could find anyway.
No, the stuff that is probably out there is probably all living shadow stuff, which we'll touch on when we do a shadow episode.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I guess that just brings us to the old mechanics, if you're ready.
I'm ready. I forgot Tandy Newton was in this movie. Yeah, I'm ready. Well, if that's all the news that's fit to print, there, like the Invisible Stalkers, we've also got a little bit of darkness that makes a sound.
That's the worst.
I know. I'm not getting any better at these.
They're only getting worse.
That was the sound
perhaps
of
to our
blackmail, which is probably what these evil summoners are doing to these invisible stalkers. Or I don't know, man. I'm tired. It's hot. I'm sorry, guys. I'll do better next time.
It's okay. I'll just edit them out.
Yeah, smart. Or just
do another episode of Encounter Me.
edit them all together.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, based on this this brutal and kind of scary but very simple and vague pieces of lore and history and what have you, what CR would you imagine this creature is?
Low, like 4.
It's a little bit higher.
Okay. I didn't actually look.
CR6.
That's all right.
Which I think mostly is attributed to its invisibility at the end of the day. And yeah, we'll just run through it. Strength is 16, Dex 19, Con 14, and then 10, 15, and 11 for the remainder. Pretty average throughout. It's quite dexterous and reasonably strong.
Decently high wisdom too.
Yeah. The HP of 104, which is not low, I guess. I mean, it's not high, but it's not low. AC of 14, pretty easy to hit at level 6. Medium in size, elemental, neutral for alignment. It does have a speed and fly speed of 50 with the ability to hover. So it's getting around pretty easily. It can speak Auran and understands Common, but cannot speak Common, which you would imagine is probably the result of just the spell itself that summoned it. And it's got a little boost to perception and stealth for its skills, 8 and 10 for bonuses. It is resistant to the classic bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, non-magical. It's immune to poison damage. It is immune to the conditions exhaustion, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained, and unconscious. Which I think is pretty much straight in line with any other elementals in general that we've covered.
Those might even be in line. Well, a lot of those I think are in line with undead as well, like the poison stuff, the prone, the restrained stuff. Like that's all pretty similar.
Makes
to
sense.
undead.
I don't know if undead would be immune to petrified, but It makes sense that an elemental would, because they're not technically incorporeal, but they're not exactly as tangible as, say, a walking corpse.
Yeah.
And then hence, like, that's where the resistance to the bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing would come in, right? They're just not super solid. But as far as senses go, dark vision is 60 feet, passive perception of 18. That's pretty much it. And then they have 2 abilities. One of them is called invisibility, which means they are invisible. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And then faultless tracker. This is where I feel the powerful, the sort of powerful side of the spell that changes them and manipulates them. It comes in. So what I said earlier was that if they are given an instruction other than the 2 things that are specified, hunting down a specific person or hunting down a specific item or possession, that spell will just sort of dissipate, which I would assume was probably costly to cast in the first place. But the upside is that they have what's called faultless tracker, which means the moment they are given their quarry, they know exactly what direction and distance that quarry is in, so long as it's on the same plane as themselves, and they also know the location of their summoner. So
that's all right. Jesus,
it's a pretty extraordinary way to pinpoint and find any item that you know exists, which is pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. And I don't know, off the top of my head, what the rules are around summoning an elemental as a PC, but should this creature be on a list and you're at a high enough level, that a DM might really, really regret not looking into this creature for that exact reason.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even possible. Like, it seems like a kind of an evil. No, it's a. Excuse me. It is. It looks like it's a single 6th level spell. Conjure
I'm
elemental.
That's a 5th level conjuration that I see.
Okay.
It only lasts up to an hour in the case of the PC spell.
Right.
Conjure elemental. So you're not really, there's a big paragraph there. I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but if we just go based on that small bit of detail, it would be pretty safe to assume that a PC would be quite limited by the ability to utilize this creature to its full potential, which is why I think usually in the lore, when they have specific powerful or occult magic creates them or twists them, they never specify. They don't give you a listed spell because it's just the sort of thing that's not available to PCs.
Yeah,
and so one would assume that whatever spell does usually create an invisible stalker. Maybe that's actually the most important thing, is that they are just air elementals, but they are twisted and created through this spell that's unavailable to the PCs. So therefore you could rule that they don't get to conjure an actual invisible stalker because they don't have the ability to twist an air elemental into one of those.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But, there's always room to play, and there's always lots of opportunity and options to allow it. I mean, I'm immediately thinking of this idea where maybe you learn a portion of the spell, or you learn temporarily you come across the information for a sort of weaker version, and then it's all part of the DM's plan, where they want you to be able to conjure this thing and hunt down a specific item in a specific dungeon and what have you, in order to kind of utilize its abilities. But sort of placing those puzzle pieces in front of players and hoping that maybe they pick them up and utilize them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But in any case, that's it for abilities, and they have a single attack. Well, they have multi-attack for 2 slam attacks. The slam is a +6 to hit, 5-foot reach, and 2d6 +3 bludgeoning. That's it.
That's That's not my favorite. Yeah.
yeah. And that's why I'm kind of like, I think their invisibility is the big piece of this. If you don't have fairy fire, you might be totally fucked against this creature. You would have to roll, checks to perceive it, and then you're looking at lots of I forget how it works in 5e, like cover checks. I guess it would probably have total cover or partial cover or 3/4 cover, depending on the circumstance and how well you rolled.
Heavily obscured. Its location can be determined by tracks, but attack rolls against have disadvantage, and the creature's attack rolls have advantage. So,
right,
that's not small.
No, it's not, and you have to know it's square, right? You might find yourself in a position where you're blindly swinging at one of the how many squares around you?
8, I think.
It could very much be a shot in the dark, if you will, and make the fight quite dangerous, because 2 slam attacks in a row per turn is I mean, it's not a lot of flavor, but it's also no slouch, right? And that can really whittle you down pretty quickly.
Yeah, it absolutely can. I guess you're probably 6th level, or ideally 6th level, where you're fighting this thing. So it's I don't know. It's I guess it seems accurate. Like I don't want to underpower invisibility, but also, like, as a DM, I would rule that, you make a perception check at the start of your turn, and then, the DC versus the Invisible Stalkers stealth rating, which, it's +10. So it's going to be hard to hit this thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
I mean, it just right to homebrew at this point for me, because one, no, they don't have the actual gust of wind effect in their stat block, which is something that I thought of and would like to see in there, especially if it's just on a death, circumstance, upon defeat, more accurately. Perhaps that actual gust of wind spell, kicks off, or at least you can use that as a basis for having an effect upon its destruction. I also would like the idea of maybe them having wind wall, especially to prevent their quarry from escaping. Why not? Why not have an ability that does something similar to that? They are an air elemental after all, and they are there to hunt things down, or people down. And then, also, why not have a bit of a range attack, or at the very least, maybe make their slam attack with some reach, which would give them quite a bit of power, right? Especially if they're already visible and you're not quite sure exactly where they are, and then they're hitting you, and you're attacking all the squares around you, but they're actually one square out. It could really, really mess with you. And then I've just thought of this as well as we're going, but based on the lore of just how invisible they are, or how even if you can see invisibility, there is a certain obscuring at all times. I would definitely, even with see invisibility, I would still be giving them a certain level of cover probably, and then maybe even with fairy fire, where it grants you advantage. Anyone who's covered in fairy fire grants you advantage to the attacks. I would almost negate that and just say no advantage, but regular to hit, because they just swirl and move so much, and bits of fair fire maybe don't properly adhere to the creature. Just these a lot of these sort of utilitarian and defensive aspects you can add to this creature, I think.
I agree. I would honestly probably give fairy fire or something like that a duration. I don't think it would last forever, or for however long it does in the the monster manual, or the player's handbook. I would 1d4 rounds fairy fire lasts, and then you said, maybe another d4 rounds. It's just, you can just see it and hit it.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
maybe 1d2 rounds.
Yeah. Fairy Fire is a concentration up to 1 minute. So you could roll for rounds, which is very much a Pathfinder thing. not so much a 5e thing, right?
I know.
Unless you're having a recharge. So what I might suggest is instead of adding something to a stat block, you might just sort of as a DM decide that if whoever casts Fairy Fire becomes like a priority target for this creature, so that they can interrupt that concentration. Something like that. To kind of add it into its tactics, if you will.
Yeah, I can get by that. Yeah, I also like the idea of giving it a ranged attack. Like, there's something about wind slamming things that just doesn't seem right to me. Like, I feel like this should be slashing.
Okay. Yep.
Like, you get cut by the wind. You don't get bludgeoned by it. I guess you and I technically do get bludgeoned by it, and that's what wind burn is. But like, like concentrated blowing, like.
But like wind like feels like it scrapes you. It doesn't feel like it bruises you, right?
That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I feel like it cuts you, like like it should make you bleed. So I like the idea of giving it a ranged attack. 20 feet, essentially like a thrown dagger. 2d4 slashing or something like that, where it just just fires.
Or
off.
like a whip kind of idea, right? But with slashing damage.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that works for me too. I was definitely
whip or something.
Thinking more like shurikens, but yeah, like that would work just fine.
Yeah, because I imagine it. In my head I keep imagining it. I keep imagining this invisible creature attacking with more of like a ranged, like a Pathfinder ranged touch approach, where it's like a ray of frost, like a 5e ray of frost, where the point of origin is from the creature itself in the hand, if you will, and it extends from there to the target, as opposed to the magic point of origin being at the target.
Okay, so in 5e
as opposed to traveling from you, it's like connected to you in one fluid motion. So that's why I imagine whip as opposed to something thrown.
Right, that's fine. In 5e parlance, that would be a spell attack.
Right. Yes.
Which I do not think they have a spellcasting modifier. So. You use your discretion.
It's a spell attack, or it's a melee attack with reach, which is what a whip might have, right?
Yeah, I would do dex with reach, maybe 20-foot reach on that, or what have you. Like there's a lot of things you can do with this creature, but I see where you're coming from. You're thinking like sniper in the bushes, but that's not how I see this creature being used. Like just the name of it itself, to me, lends me to think that if it needs to attack you, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong.
True.
So I like the idea that it could just, maybe one of its other abilities are, instead of it attacking you, it sneaks up behind you, and if the Invisible Stalker has advantage on attack rolls, it can just siphon itself into your throat and suffocate you or some shit like that. Like you stop breathing.
Okay. Yeah. Because there are two main options that you might encounter this creature, and one would be you are in its path for whatever it's hunting. So whether that's an NPC that you happen to be nearby or allied with, or if it's an item that's nearby or past you in whatever location you are. And, it's more likely in those situations that it's going to defend itself because you're trying to stop it. But if you have said item per se, or one of the PCs is in fact the quarry, then it's going to attack you. That's going to be its priority, and that's why you're suddenly in an encounter with it, right? And I find it it seems now quite appropriate that it's got a decent strength and a decent dex at the same time. And I think I want to add something to this list, this stat block that I don't think we've ever done before. I want to give it a boost to one of its skills. I want it to have sleight of hand. I want it to have a bonus to its sleight of hand so it can steal an item off your person.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think you're right. I would also like to give it like a grapple ability. I know it's immune to being grappled, but every artwork we've seen leads me to believe that this thing is pulling you in and suffocating you, which to me would be some sort of grapple attack. And that's how I think this creature operates. Like you turn around and all of a sudden your fighter's a foot off the ground, weapon dropped, just suffocating.
Mm-hmm. What would be an interesting idea is if it had an ability or an action where it could expand its size, and in that invisible increased size, it can occupy your space. It also creates difficult terrain and then adds a suffocation effect to the environment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I figure you could probably just pull that ability from the gelatinous cube and just theme it as wind instead of as jelly.
Yeah, and you're just taking like no, it's not. Is it force damage? You could take force damage or just bludgeoning damage whilst inside said.
I'd probably go bludgeoning
instead of like acid for.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, just so like classes like paladins and barbarians, and they have a little bit of a one up. Like nobody's really immune to force. I think the shield spell is the only thing.
Right.
So, like I to give that barbarian an extra boost, because I think this is going to be a hard enough creature. With damage resistance to all non-magical, that bludgeoning feels like the right way to go.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think you just steal that ability from the G Cube. I don't remember what it's called to save my life.
The old GameCube.
Yeah. As you can check,
Golf. I think it's called in Golf.
I think you're right. I think it is called in Golf. Yeah, it is called in Golf. You can make the dex. It's a DC 12 dex save, which is a little higher. I would make it a little bit higher. But the G Cube is a CR2, so you can up that. But like the 66 on a fail, like it can't breathe, is restrained, and takes 66 acid damage at the start of the G Cube's turn. Like that's okay,
Yeah, that's a brutal amount of damage at that level.
I would probably change the escape DC to match the dex save. And I would change it from strength to probably acrobatics from athletics, so you could like flip your way out, like do a backflip out of this elemental. Right. Because I don't imagine you're on the ground and you're forcing your way out of it. I imagine you're just like swinging your legs to flip out of this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it'd be great if you want to get really complicated and be like, after 2 rounds of staying inside, you become under the effects of, you unwillingly become under the effects of the levitate spell. Now you can't backflip at it anymore. You just start like lifting up in the air while you're being pummeled by this invisible wind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, or when, if you want to keep the save low, the characters, when they're freed, they take a level of exhaustion until they take their next short rest, because they just had the breath sucked out of them. Like there's no wind left in them. So they have this
I feel like we need to build a CR12 version of this creature and call it the Invisible Bastard. Just like
the invisible, go fuck yourself.
Fucking love it.
Yeah, I think that's great. You know what? While we're at it, just give it the gelatinous cube pseudopod attack. Same. It's 3d6 acid damage with 5 foot reach. Like that's way better.
It's a CR2 creature.
This is a CR2 creature. It's a really dangerous CR2 creature, which is why it's one of my favorites.
This guy's only doing 2d6 plus 3 himself at CR6. I mean, he's hitting it twice with it, but still.
Yeah, well, and he's hitting 50% more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would just reflavor the G Cube, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only other thing I have is and it's a question mark. I'm not even sure how appropriate it is or how it compares to other air elementals. But air to me, often spells like sonic or thunder damage in 5e's parlance. And like, why not have an immunity or maybe at least a resistance to that? I feel like they just would. It would make sense.
I would actually be tempted to go the other way, because the sound travels through, like sound waves travel through the air.
Okay.
So if you were to create like a large sound, what you're doing is essentially cutting and pushing the air away.
Okay. Sure. All right. Because that's how I was picturing force damage. But I think that you're probably right. That works as well. Yeah. But what about, say, lightning? So lightning is its own damage too, right? And how
Yeah.
does that affect air itself? In its
I think
purest
that
form?
so I would legitimately, if I was going to fall back on my grade 12 chemistry or physics, I guess, I would make them immune to fire and thunder because the concentration of air would put out the fire. Or sorry, and lightning. And if I remember correctly, lightning is how you described, a beam. It's coming from the person. So lightning would be coming from the this air elemental to the other person, and lightning happens when electricity arcs from electron to electron. Please don't write it and correct that. I'm not a physicist. But I think that's how lightning works, is that it arcs from the ground, from electron to electron, up into the sky where it originates, where there's that big concentration of electrical energy. So I don't think there would be anything for... I think physically, lightning damage would just... Like, lightning itself would just arc right through it. Like, it wouldn't even touch the wind.
Right.
Because there's nothing physical for it to attach to. But you could also make the argument that because there's nothing physical there, it's not of our world, it does double damage because it's arcing through this thing that doesn't exist on the material plane. So,
yeah, I mean, I'd be inclined to just give it resistance instead of immunity on that point because we're already looking at the holy trinity of non-magical physical attacks. Yeah. They're still getting through. They are hitting something, right? So we can't say that this lightning is traveling through nothing, especially if it's magical. We can't really say it's traveling through nothing. But I think resistance would make sense.
That makes sense. I would straight up make it immune to fire. I don't understand why fire would touch this thing at all. Again, unless you want to make some like weird planar. So like in my homebrew worlds, all magic comes from the plane where it originates. So like fire magic comes from the plane of fire. Like you don't prepare a fireball spell like Vancian magic. You, like a battery, store fire energy and then release it in the form of a fireball. So in that case, it makes sense that it can attack it because they're not physically connected to the physics of the world. They're being pulled in from different universes, and those things would, in theory, clash. But
we're also looking at if you want to get to the chemistry level. I mean, I think the last time I took chemistry or physics was in grade 10, so I'm even less reliable than you. But it's made of air, but like, what's the assumption of its chemical makeup here? We're having water weird situations all over again, where it's like, is it made of oxygen? Is it made of carbon dioxide? Is it made of nitrogen? Is it made of a combination of all those things? Like, fire spreads when there's lots of oxygen being fed into it, but it automatically, it snuffs out when you hit it with carbon dioxide, right?
Well, oxygen also douses fire. Like, yes, oxygen is flammable, but too much. Fire is a very
can smother
tenuous creature.
Yeah. So it's like, what is this creature made of? And I mean, these are clearly the questions that Wizards has gone out of their way to avoid putting into the stat block.
Right, and as you should. Like,
rightfully so, yeah.
I have a high concept of how magic works in my world, and if you do, then I would recommend start tweaking that shit. If you do not have a high concept of how magic works in your world, just run damage and condition immunities as they're written in the stat blocks, and
totally,
steal everything from the gelatinous cube and slap it in here. In addition to its current stat block.
One thing is for sure is that everything we've said about this creature has been to boost its power.
I don't see a whole lot of reason to nerf this thing.
Yeah. It's already fairly powerful. I think the CR is relatively accurate. It's got good speed. It is invisible at all times, pretty much, and it does attack twice. So it's not a slouch, but it's not flavorful, and it doesn't have a lot of like dynamics in its build.
Well,
but it is no slouch. But you can really add things to make something beefier out of this. Especially the idea of like, say you have an invisible stalker that's done tons of errands, if you will. Mayhaps they come, they learn a few tricks along the way because they're not exactly mindless. They hate what they're doing and they're forced to do it, but surely they can learn as they go. So you can start sort of slowly adding these things that we've come up with to this stat block to really boost the challenge.
Well, like a lot of the creatures we cover and a lot of the creatures we've seen so far, this is a thematic creature. Like, as much as it's built for combat, it's kind of half-ass built for combat. Like, this is, like you said, this is a glorified errand creature, but I think this creature really becomes interesting if somebody in your party speaks Orin and they can try and turn this slave. Like, yeah, you know what? We'll give you this gilded clockwork watch, but we're going to follow you back to your master and murder them into the ground. Like, like there's no reason.
Tell us what your master's command was.
Right.
Maybe we can find a loophole in it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is an adventure building creature. Like you allow the creature to take whatever it wants back to its master, but you follow it back and you murder the master, because that wasn't part of the deal. The master wasn't like, hey, you know what, slave heir, go steal me this pocket watch, but make sure nobody follows you back and murders me. Like very rarely is somebody going to put that caveat in there. So like there's a pretty cool building experiment there.
Totally. I was recently reading some stuff about contract demons and how,
I love contract demons.
It's so cool, right? And there's always, every time there's a contract, there's always a way, almost always a way to interpret it, or a loophole somewhere built in that's hard to interpret, depending on who writes the contract, of course. And then contract demons, they build and create and sign contracts with mortals and other creatures, to mutual benefit, but there's almost always a way out. And that's a concept that I really love, with this idea of, like, you need to very properly word the command of this creature. So, world's your oyster. Play with that big time. That's probably the most interesting element of this creature. Pun intended.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think thematically it's a really fun creature. I mean, what do you want? What am I can't build on that. I got nothing.
I'm sorry. Go on.
I think it's a really fun, a really thematic creature. I really like Invisible Stalkers. I do not think they're built for combat, so they could use a little bit of tweaking there. This multi-attack, 2 slams seemed really phoned in. But we've given you a myriad of ways to make this creature more interesting.
Yeah. Unlike the water weird, use this creature.
Yeah, use this creature and tell us about it. We had one of our patrons tell us about how they use the water weird, and that was actually very interesting. So we're dumb. Like, we're ready to be corrected at any given time, except about that lightning shit. Put that in your pocket and go sit on it.
Yeah.
I do not care.
Go back to school, kids.
Yeah, but and if you want to tell us how you want to use the Invisible Stalker in your, like, we really do want to hear about it. You can shoot us an email at info@encounterthis.ca. You can find us on Twitter or Facebook at EncounterPod, Instagram at encounter.pod. If you want to check out any of our back episodes, like the Ooze episode, which I think was episode 42, you can find all that stuff on our website at encounterthis.ca, where we have a searchable archive of all of our past episodes. And if you like this for whatever reason, you can help us keep the lights on at patreon.com/encounterpod. $5 will get you a handwritten thank you letter and access to its show notes. If you've only got $1 to spend a month, that's cool too. It'll get you access to a private Discord where you have a direct line to ask us as many interesting or as dumb questions as you want. We have literally fielded every question in our Discord, and we will continue to do so until we get too big for our britches and hire somebody to do it in our name. For $10 a month, you can suggest a creature. If you wanna see us do whatever that pact devil is in 5e, I can't remember what they're called right now, but if you want to see us do those for $10 a month, you can do it. If you really, really are mad at us, you can get us to start a suite by suggesting, like, an air elemental. That will automatically be at least an 8-episode suite, which is not great for us, but we'll do it for $10 a month. The most important thing you can do is rate and review on your platform of choice, and tell your friends or Dungeon Master, or I don't know, the person sitting next to you on the bus, or
your mom. Tell your moms.
Yeah, there are some parents out there who weren't involved in the satanic panic. Get at it. Get them rolling some dice.
They've earned it.
Get them dicing. Okay, I'm done channeling my inner Griffin McElroy. Thank you, listeners, and we will gum up your ear holes in 2 weeks with our next episode about a hippopotami.
Oh, hippopotami? That was nope. Nuh-uh. You can't
for a hot second
pluralize
there, I did not think you were going to pick up on that.
Oh, yeah, me of all people. You think I'd pick up on that?
Well, there was a good solid pause there.
No, awful. That was
multiple a hippopotamis.
Now we're talking.